So people ask all the time, should you hunt mornings in the early season? In Indiana, our archery season opens October 1st. By that point, most of the bucks have already moved out of their summer patterns and have started preparing for the pre-rut. By the end of September, I'm already seeing bucks sparring and they're establishing dominance with each other. This is the time of year that really makes it hard to keep track of these deer. They kind of disappear off into thin air once they get hard antlered and that testosterone starts to flow. So this is my plan. I'm not an expert. All I know is what I've learned from hunting whitetails here in northern Indiana. And this is what I plan to do the first few days of the season. Most of us don't really have the luxury of picking mornings or evenings because we have limited hunting time. What I've witnessed and what I've gone through, I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I watch a lot of these guys on YouTube, the older guys, the newer guys, the hunting public, the hunting beast, even the new guy that's got the thermal drones. I like his videos. I don't have a thermal drone. So how I'm going to approach morning hunts. I know where this buck is. There was 2 bucks in this general area, and I feel like they're still going to be right there. I know there's a swamp to the north, and it's not one you can really see on the map. It's just kind of a wetland area. So I'm hoping there's going to be some water in there. Then there's some CRP fields kind of off to the northwest of that. And there's some white oaks. There's white oaks all over the place. We're really a lot of oaks, red oaks, white oaks, whatever. And then there's some bedding around the white oaks. So as far as morning hunts go in October, I think opening morning, I'm going to be in a tree. I've kind of got a line mapped out I think he's using, and I kind of see him coming down this little ditch. So I got some wind or got a little bit of rain, and I think I can get in close to some bedding areas, then I'll use that to my advantage. If the wind's not really blowing too hard, if it's light and variable and I just don't feel comfortable getting in without bumping anything, I'm going to try to find a high vantage point, whether it's get way up in a tree and glass, but I'm going to look over a lot of CRP fields. I'm going to try to see if I can see any sort of movement at all, at least get eyes on them to make a plan for that evening. Again, depending on the weather, if that persists throughout the day, then a lot of those sits will be observation sits. And until I can get a chance with the weather to get in tight to that bedding area and make some moves without getting busted going in there, at least try to have some advantage going in there. So I'm really going to focus on white oaks to start with around those bedding areas. And then the soybeans, soybeans are high in protein. In October, they're turning brown. A lot of them around here are brown, but they're still palatable for the deer. So the deer will still be hitting them. And if you can find any soybean fields with green leaves still in them, they're going to be hammering those. They're going to shift to the red oaks once the white oaks are gone, but we're really kind of focusing on the first few days here. And then you got your soft mass with your wild apples and your persimmons, wild grapes. If you do have a place where you can find those, and it depends on your local trees and vines, but deer will pattern heavily to these when they start to drop, often cleaning it up nightly. And then from there, we're going to go to corn, which nothing I'm really hunting right now has corn close to it. I do have some about 3/4 of a mile away, but I think they're going to be hitting the oaks and the soybeans before they really get into the corn. And then around the bedding, I'm going to be looking for a lot of clover, red clover and white clover, any ragweed, which the ragweed and the goldenrod are dying off right now. They're still going to use it for cover, and there still might be some forage in there. And then your goldenrod and plantain, which they're still foraging on that, and some smartweed and some lamb's quarter. And those are highly digestible, and they're full of protein, and you're going to see those in your fallow fields and edges. So like your CRP and stuff like that. They're going to still be available in early October, but the first frost is really gonna take those out. They're kind of widely dispersed in the areas I hunt, but you want to make sure you do have some of those in your bedding areas, I believe. And then the woody browse, I'm really not going to be looking into that much as far as the first couple of days go. So I think I'm going to leave that out. I'm going to make another video. I will have another video. It might be available by the time you see this, and I'm going to go more into detail on a lot of the green forbs, as far as the ragweed and the goldenrod, plantain, and smartweed and all that goes. So I want to make sure there's forage and some water close to the bedding areas. Targeting white oaks, and then weather. That's going to be a key determining factor on how hard I push in there. This is public land, and with the size of the deer I'm hunting this year, I feel like I got to make moves when I can make moves, but I also want to make the smart moves. So I hope you guys enjoy this video and enjoy what I put together. And if you want to, check out my other video, the top 5 foods that whitetails prefer in early October. And I will catch you guys on the next ones. Thanks a lot. Stay safe, and I'll see you later.